Hey guys, it's Little Soul. So, officially today, Ultra Street Fighter 4 has seen its final changelog. So, for those who may not know, it was actually found in recent weeks that Akuma has actually gotten a few buffs that previously they weren't announced, but people found them anyways. And so there's two of them that were actually very interesting, and now that they've actually appeared on the final changelog, I want to talk about them. Because these are actually two buffs I think can be fairly significant in the next version. So the first buff that people found out was that now the farthest standing Fierce Punch, right? So if you look at Akuma, this button right here is now special cancelable. So right now in the current A 2012 version, even if I try to do a special motion, you can't cancel, right? So now you'll be able to cancel this into a fireball and all sorts of different things, both on blocking and hit, obviously. I'm going to talk more in a little bit about why I think that's a pretty significant buff. People have already figured out a few ideas regarding to this buff, but I think some of the ideas are very narrow-sighted, and so I want to talk about some of the bigger ideas about what you can do with this. The second one that's actually very significant is that the EX Shaku, so this move right here, it got buffed so that it's no longer a 25 frame startup, it is now a 19 frame startup. What does that mean? That means if you cancel it from close fierce on hit, it combos now. This is the first major one. So basically, this move is actually going to see more utility that wasn't previously available with the move. So, I want to talk about some of the changes this is going to make to both Akuma's offensive game and to his neutral game, because there's a couple changes or a couple ideas that I have that I don't think people are really thinking about just yet. Right now, people are thinking about using it in combos, something like that, on tall characters like Sagat, but that's fine and dandy, but it's not really that useful just for combos, right? At least it wouldn't let you do anything more significant than what you're already doing. But I think these changes actually have some subtle implications that a lot of people don't know about. So the first thing I want to talk about is the EX Shaku. So now, because it is comboable, there's some things that people who weren't around vanilla wouldn't know about because of the fact that generally now, there's only one way you can combo into the Shaku, right? It's to do something like this. And while that does work, it's an okay combo, the problem is that for an equivalent amount of bar, you can just do something like this, and it does more damage, better knockdown, overall better situation. There's just really no reason not to do the other combo, just because of the fact that the alternative is so much better. But the two changes, both the change I was just talking about with the Shaku, in addition to the change to delayed wake up, right? So now they added the delayed wake up mechanic. You might actually start to see that the Shaku get way more use. Now, one thing people don't know about is that the knockdown off the Shakunetsu is actually really good, really good, especially the EX one. So even if I hit this at point blank, I can actually get a safe jump even if they quick rise, right? So if you look at this, right, I jump in with Akuma. Akuma hits the ground long before the other one gets up, right? So what that already tells you is that if you do this just right, you can get safe jump setups, right? And if you can get safe jump setups, it also means you can get things like cross-up setups. You can get all sorts of other things like that. Empty jumps. Also, you can get the dive kick setup. So you can do something like that. The spacing might be a little bit of something to work out, but that's something we'll have to do once we actually get the game in our hands and we can actually sit in training mode and practice this for a little bit. But the thing also about the Shakunetsu is that even if they don't quick rise, so let's say we go to this, right? So say I do my jump in, there's still other mix-up options you can do. And so the thing about this is, regardless of whether they quick rise or not, you actually can still put them into a mix-up. That's something that you can do in the current version, but there's just no reason to do it. But now in the new version, between the fact that you'll be able to combo into it from a close fierce, or even far fierce, I think when I did the calculations, I think it's something like 21 frames of hit stun when you cancel into a move from either of the fierces. I think it's the same on both. With the new like 19 frame startup, what that basically equates to is that you have like a 2 to 3 frame window where the Shaku can hit, right? So like you don't have to be perfectly point blank for the Shaku to combo. You might be able to be a little further out and still be able to get it. And the implications of that is just the fact that you'll be able to combo to this like a lot more consistently. So the other thing that's also nice about this is you can do something like that currently with the EX Fireball, but if you look at it, the damage is kind of like pitiful compared to what you can do off the other ones for like the 1 bar. Again, why do that one unless like the only time you do this is if they're crouching. You know, you obviously can't combo to Tatsu. But the thing about the Shakunetsu, the EX one, does 141, and if you look at this, Fierce EX Shakunetsu should do 241 because it's it's a 2 move combo, so no damage scaling whatsoever. So it's simply 241. If you look at that, that's about the same amount you're burning on. For some reason, I can't hit this combo right now because I'm trying to talk. Yeah, 242, right? So basically, off of his meterless version, it was about 242. And so the significance of this is that you're not losing damage by going for this, but you're actually getting a controllable mix-up situation that you may not have in the new version. See, you might still be able to do some stuff with delayed wake-up. Maybe mostly just try to keep pressure. Like when I was looking at things in Ultra, there's a few setups I found, especially towards the corner, where say if you get a throw, you can time a fireball just right, or regardless of whether they delay wake up or not, it'll still meaty them, and you'll still be at a frame advantage. So he's still going to have a few pressure setups. He's not completely losing everything. Don't get that impression that the Vortex is officially dead. But this is actually, it's just like you're not going to get the same quality mix-ups that you're currently getting. So the thing about this is that with this, you can control the quality of the mix-up, right? Because you do like a 2-pronged attack, right? You first do a safe jump. If they don't quick rise, you can do something else, right? And so basically, it's one of these things where regardless of whether they quick rise or not, you're going to have a mix-up. And so that's something where you might want to burn that bar for that Oki, especially in a situation where like you can't really deal out the damage or something like that. So say if you've got 1 bar, you get a hit, it might be worth it. So that's one of the things to look at for the Shaku is that the Oki off of it's amazing. Now you can combo into it, so it's a huge buff, like in my opinion. This is going to give Akuma a tool that he wouldn't otherwise have in Ultra if he's just going forward with like the current moveset. The other buff that I mentioned before is that now the Far Fierce is special cancelable, right? Well, this actually opens up a few possibilities. The other thing that it opens up, in addition to like these two buffs actually complement each other. The other thing people may not know about with the EX Shaku, because again, you don't really have a reason to do this in the current version because it's kind of risky, is that if you look at the frame advantage, right? So see, this is a quick and dirty way to test the frame advantage. Just go into training mode, have the dummy do whatever you want to like test. In this case, we want to test the Shaku. I'm gonna block it, and we're both gonna jump as soon as we recover. The thing about the EX Shaku is, if you look at it, the frame advantage is huge on this thing. Even point blank is 100% safe on block. In fact, it's plus 12 on block from point blank. Now with the buff, this also makes it so you can use it in a pressure situation. So say if you're on the ground, you're just trying to get a little bit of your frame trapping, so you do something like this. Even if it doesn't hit and it doesn't combo, it's still not a waste because you're mad plus on this. Also because of the speed up buff, there's now only like a 1 to 2, maybe at worst 3 frame gap between a close fierce or even a far fierce and when the Shaku goes active. So basically, what that's going to mean is that the only way you could blow it up is to actually do some kind of invincible reversal. But you know, you may not be able to react to that in time. Also, like Akuma's got other options he can do off of close fierce. So it's one of those things where there's not much of a gap, and you have a very short window to react to it. And because Shakunetsu leaves you so plus on block, you can now use that as part of your pressure string. See, the current version, you don't ever do that because of the fact if you do close fierce, EX Shaku, right? Even though you be mad plus on block, the problem is that there's a huge gap in there. Like if I actually do this right, I can actually, that wasn't even counter hit, so that wasn't even like the ideal. So you can actually, if you do this right, I don't practice it, so I don't actually know the timing. If you do it right, though, like you can actually hit him out of this, right? And that's one of the reasons you don't typically do it in the current version. It's just the fact that there's a large enough gap that you can even you can hit a button in the middle there, if you really wanted to practice the timing on that. So there's just, you know, it's not as good to use that in those situations. But now with the new change, the only thing people are going to be able to do is try to do something like this. But you know, it's still a threat, it's still something you got to worry about. But if you're careful and you mix things up, now it's actually pretty legitimate to go for that. And so it's basically, it leaves you in their face with a huge frame advantage that you normally don't get off of other moves. So that's a huge buff. And now you can even do things like, again, this is a buff with the far fierce, is you can do something like 2 jabs, Shakunetsu, and even in the corner, this would actually be worth it. Mid-screen is probably going to push him too far back to do anything, but in the corner, this leaves you close enough where now you can actually start, you can mix them up, you can make them guess whether you're going to throw them or what. So these 2 buffs are huge. The other thing with the Far Fierce that people may not realize is that the Far Fierce is actually a really good counterpoke. It's actually in the footsie battle, it's probably one of the best ways to squat limbs. If you really, really want to punish somebody for being predictable with using a poke that's like hits really high, the Far Fierce is probably one of the better buttons to counterpoke with. Admittedly, it's not the best counterpoke in the game, but it's there. It's probably like Akuma's only good one that hits this high, right? But so, the thing about it now being special cancellable is it actually makes it more viable to use it as a counterpoke. I'll give you an example right here. So, one button that's really annoying for Akuma to deal with is Chun-Li's far standing medium punch. It's a very annoying button because it's fast, it's plus on block. It hits like I think it hits pretty low too. Like I think the only button that actually beats it straight up that Akuma's got is crouching medium kick. But you know, if you stick out crouching medium kick from the ranges where you'd actually want to, you know, poke with it, Chun-Li's got other options. You know, she can, you know, she's got other things you can worry about. So, but one of the things that you can do with the Far Fierce is, if she's sticking out this button a lot, you can actually swat it, right? So if you stand roughly about this range, let's see, I think I need to be a little further back. This is failing miserably. We have Chun to stay put. There. It takes a little bit of practice. Like, admittedly, this is something I haven't been practicing as much. I need to. But so, one of those things is that you can actually swat limbs with it. It's actually better against characters like Cody. I've actually found more of Cody's buns to be easier to hit with that. Chun-Li's are really hard to swat. I mean, that's just because her buns are so good. But the thing about it is, like, right now in this version, it's kind of not the best thing to go for just because of the fact it's long recovery if you whiff it. You're probably going to get it whiff punished. But because now it's special cancelable, one of the things you might be able to do with it is if you know a poke's coming, if you know something that you can counter with it is coming, you can actually do Far Fierce, buffer EX Fireball, and the hit stun might be enough off of that you can actually combo even from like really far out. Because I think like it should be like 20 some frames of hit stun. You compare this, the crouching medium kick has something like 14. So like that's almost 10 more frames of hit stun on cancel than the crouching medium kick. And so if like you might even be able to combo it from this far out. And so what that'll allow you to do is you swat the limb, EX Fireball, and now you can actually get in because you knocked him down, soft knockdown. You can get a safe jump set up off this. You know, again, you can get some Oki off of it. From that distance, you're probably gonna not get anything sophisticated, but you can still get something. You know, and that's the idea. Is that now all of a sudden you can you have a counter poke that leads into something. So you can poke and start your offense. Yeah, so right about that range. So from that far away, guess what? I get a soft knockdown, I'm in. And that's something that Akuma cannot currently do in this version. Because the crouching medium kick, even though it is his best bud for special canceling, the problem is that it has so little hit stun for like how slow Akuma's Fireball is compared to say Ryu, for instance, that outside of like counter hit, you can't really combo it from like this far out. See, on counter hit you can do that, but if you don't get a counter hit, typically the Chun-Li player should be able to block in time. See? And so like even from this range, right, which is not a bad range to be using it, it's still kind of iffy, you know. Like there's certain ranges where you can hit, but between the pushback and also on some characters, I think this is harder on other characters like Fei Long. Fei Long, for some reason, just like crouching medium kick Fireball does not want to combo, and it's really annoying. But the idea is that this is not currently the most reliable, but something that button can be reliable. Like you basically, if you get a good hit, in footsie situations, you can combo the EX Fireball. It does something like 100. What's it? Fireball damage is 120. Yeah. So it's going to do 210 for one bar from a footsie situation and get you in. That's something you cannot currently do, and that's going to be huge. So those are like my ideas, at least. Between like the frame trap opportunities, the new Oki that this presents, this could be really, really good. So like I think these changes are the two changes that I'm more excited about than some of the other ones. Like the change to like Sand Medium Kick, okay, that's nice. It allows us to combo a little bit more consistently on crouching opponents. It's just okay. It's not going to give you a ton more than what you already got. And the other one is like the EX Fireball out of Demon Flip. Probably good for shenanigans. Might have a few setup uses. I don't know. Like it's one of those things I'm gonna have to test it, but I'm not too hopeful about that change. It'll be nice if there is actually tech that comes from that, but I'm still sort of skeptical that it's going to lead to anything super significant other than just like shenanigans. But we'll see. It's one of those things. Until we actually have the game in our hands, it's kind of hard to predict everything. But at any rate, in my opinion, the two new buffs, they're going to be huge. And so, I encourage Akuma players to start looking for ways they can incorporate this, like, using some of these ideas. And, come up with your own ideas. Don't just take mine. So, there we go. So, anyway, I think that's about all I really wanted to talk about. But I hope this gives you guys some ideas. And hopefully going forward into Ultra, I think Akuma's actually going to be really strong. I think he's still going to be very, very good. He may not be as good as some of the other top tiers, but I think he's going to be playable, which is all I really care about. You know, I put 5 years into this character. I don't want to drop him right now. So, any rate, I think that's it for me. So I'll see y'all later. This is Loyal Soul, and it's been